Mike here again with another little episode of Acoustic Snapshots, and today I want to talk tremolo. Tremolo is a technique used on the mandolin, and it can be used with great effect on the guitar too. Mostly it's a tool for extracting sustain out of the mandolin, and because mandolins by their nature don't have a lot of sustain. When you pluck a mandolin, the decay of the note is rather rapid. It doesn't hang in the air like a guitar as much. It's got a smaller sound chamber, and just by its nature, it's just kind of doesn't really lend itself well to a lot of sustain. An open note will sustain fairly well, but as you fret the notes, that sustain gets decayed quite a bit, and you can't really rely on just the sustain to keep a note going for a very long period of time. So what we do with mandolin is, and it's one of the oldest techniques in mandolin, is to use what's called a tremolo, which is basically just an alternating pick stroke, which goes just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, kind of like that. But up to speed, a tremolo sounds like this. And there's many ways you can approach holding the pick for a tremolo, but one thing you must absolutely do to have an effective tremolo is to hold the pick loosely between the thumb and first finger. So loose that the faster you go, the faster that back and forth motion is going, the looser you want to be holding the pick. You want to feel the pick kind of flex and the point sort of moving between your thumb and first finger. Not to where you're going to drop it, but almost to that point. What people tend to do, I've seen players, especially when they're starting out, they tend to grip the pick really hard when they want to speed up or play, a fast tremolo. So they grip the pick really hard like this, and then you end up with your arm rigid, and it's like you've got this 2x4 sticking out of your from your elbow. You have no control. You have no over the dynamic or the force or the speed of the tremolo, and it just all falls apart. So mainly one secret is hold the pick very, very lightly. And the other is, rather than trying to do the tremolo from the elbow, my tremolo tends to be more in the thumb and first finger. It's just very localized. Anyway, another thing about the tremolo is the position of the pick. If you want a more brittle sound, kind of a more percussive sound, you can hold. I tend to sometimes hold the pick at an angle up like this, if you can see that, kind of, and with the left side of the pick pointing up, and that's exaggerated slightly, but that's kind of how to get a little bit louder, more percussive sound. It's also a little easier to get going that way. If you want a more mellow tremolo, and if you want to catch some of the windings on these low strings to give it kind of a brushy sound, then the secret is to hold the pick angled down away from your body, like the left side of the pick that is lining up with the edge of your thumbnail. You want to angle that down slightly, and that will control the tone. Controlling the volume is just a question of not gripping the pick, but kind of just it's subtle. It might have to do with slightly gripping the pick, very, very slightly with more force, but just a little bit, and that will enable you to ratchet up the volume on the tremolo. It's also just playing a little bit harder. With practice, you'll be able to get an even tremolo and increase and lower the volume. A really good exercise, once you get a tremolo going, is to just practice turning up the volume, turning it down, and having the pick strokes be even, having them not vary as the volume increases and decreases. Doing it across more than one string. When you start off with one string, and then eventually you can do things like double stops, like you would on a violin. So it is possible to do a tremolo across all 8 strings. It takes a little bit of practice, but you can do it. So there's my 10-cent tour of the tremolo, and I hope it was helpful to you. We'll see you next time.